The UK's new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, recently delivered what was presented as a message of great national importance, though many would say the seriousness of the address did not quite match the tone in which it was introduced. The moment has raised a few eyebrows, not because a Home Secretary is speaking to the public, but because of how it was done and the broader implications behind it. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. This is the individual now responsible for shaping and overseeing the UK's immigration policies, a role that demands clarity, transparency, and total alignment with the interests of British citizens. Yet here she is making television appearances in a language other than English, the primary language of the country she's been appointed to serve. For many people watching, it comes across as a strange choice, especially in the context of such a crucial cabinet position. It naturally leads to questions about priorities, messaging, and the intended audience of these public statements. Of course, speaking multiple languages is not the issue. The concern lies in whether public communication from high-ranking officials should be directed first and foremost at the British public, in the language the entire nation shares. When someone entrusted with a role as significant as Home Secretary chooses to communicate publicly in a way that excludes a large portion of the population, it raises legitimate questions about focus and intent. People want to know that the person making decisions about national security, borders, and immigration is fully invested in representing them. They want confidence that the Home Secretary's message is aimed at the British people, not select groups or external audiences. When that confidence wavers, so does trust. And that's why many are now asking a very simple, understandable question. How are British citizens supposed to feel reassured that this Home Secretary truly has their best interests at heart? Have a watch.
Labour Party ने taxation ने plans ना income tax की वदासा ना national insurance की ना VAT की ओ tax same रहसन असें तो आखने कि actually tax असां increase ना करना चाहने असां कोशिश करसा कि economic growth नाल जेरे मुल्क ने पैसे ज़्यादा असां बनाई सकसा उसने नाल असां public services की fund करसा तो जेरे सारे plans.
At the end of the day, the Home Secretary holds one of the most sensitive and impactful positions in government. The public expects clarity, consistency, and communication that speaks directly to them. When the person responsible for decisions on borders, migration, and national security chooses to present herself in ways that leave much of the country questioning her priorities, it naturally creates uncertainty. People want to feel assured that the Home Secretary is fully aligned with the nation she serves and is communicating with the whole country, not select groups or external audiences. Moments like this don't inspire that confidence, they create distance. And that's why so many are left wondering whether the leadership in this role is truly focused on the concerns and interests of everyday British citizens. A major fraud operation targeting wealthy individuals and organizations has prompted urgent alerts from financial security experts as International Fraud Awareness Week approaches. The sophisticated scheme has resulted in devastating financial losses, with some victims losing more than £1 million from their accounts. An estimated 9 million Britons fell victim to a financial scam in the year leading up to October 2024, according to research by Citizens Advice. Other recent surveys suggest a range of 15% to over a quarter of people in the UK have lost money to scams in a single year. The Cyber Defence Alliance has joined forces with Fraud Prevention Service, CFIUS, and UK Finance to expose the scam ahead of the awareness campaign running from November 16th to 22nd. Their intelligence reveals how fraudsters masquerade as legitimate banking security personnel to manipulate victims into surrendering control of their accounts. Their elaborate deception employs multiple techniques, including bogus websites, malicious software, and psychological manipulation. Businesses, charitable organizations, and individuals with substantial bank balances have been identified as primary targets of these criminal operations. The criminals initiate contact through telephone calls, occasionally preceded by text messages, with callers claiming to represent the victim's financial institution. They alert targets to supposed fraudulent activity, requiring immediate action, creating panic to cloud judgment. Victims are then directed to counterfeit banking websites designed to appear authentic. Once there, they are instructed to activate a chat function, which covertly downloads malicious software onto their devices. This program grants criminals complete control over the victim's computer and banking access. When banks dispatch security verification codes to customers' mobile phones, the fraudsters manipulate victims into disclosing these credentials. The scammers can then establish new payment recipients and transfer funds freely. Some victims are even convinced to activate call diversion services, preventing their actual bank from making contact. Mr. Gary Lilburn, Operations Director at CDA, said, "If you receive a message or call that feels unusual, take a moment to consider whether it matches how your bank normally communicates. If anything seems off, end the call and report it using your bank's official contact methods." Tips to avoid remote access bank scams. 1. Hang up and call your bank back using a number from your bank card or app. 2. Never trust a call just because it sounds professional. Always verify the caller. 3. Try using the 159 service to connect directly to your bank's fraud team. Many banks have signed up to this. 4. Never share one-time passwords or allow remote access to your device. 5. Report suspect text messages by forwarding them to 7726. 6. Visit the Take 5 to Stop Fraud website for further support and advice. Mike Haley, Chief Executive Officer of Kiefer, said, "Fraudsters are creating a false sense of urgency to exploit people's trust and steal large sums of money. Banks will never ask you to download software or transfer funds to protect your account. If you receive an unexpected request, take a step back and question it before responding." Ms. Diane Dudnath, Principal of Remote Banking Channels at UK Finance, said, "Impersonation scams often begin with a message or call claiming to be from a trusted organization. Criminals may try to rush you by saying your money is at risk. Several warning signs can help potential victims identify these scams before falling prey. Being instructed to return calls on specific numbers supplied by the caller should raise immediate suspicion, as should any pressure to act hastily. Legitimate financial institutions will not request customers to install programs on their devices or demand access to banking platforms. Requests to divulge authentication codes sent via text message represent another major indicator of fraudulent activity. The criminals may also attempt to persuade targets to configure call redirection on their phones. This tactic ensures genuine bank representatives cannot reach customers to alert them about suspicious transactions. Any unexpected communication claiming urgent account issues warrants careful scrutiny, particularly when accompanied by demands for immediate action or system access. Those who suspect they have been targeted should immediately contact their bank and report the incident to police. Prevention remains the most effective defense against these sophisticated schemes. A separate study found that young Brits are now the most vulnerable to scams, with 47% of 18 to 34-year-olds losing money in the past year, compared to just 15% of over 55's average losses for younger victims top £3,000, nearly double the amount lost by older age groups. Banks have reported a sharp rise in scam-related losses, with 78% saying customer losses have increased over the last year. Fake websites, social media cons, and crypto scams are driving the surge, prompting calls for stronger protections and AI-powered fraud defenses. Jason Blackhurst, SVP, Head of Feature Space and Acceptance Risk Solutions at Visa, said, "Young consumers are losing thousands to increasingly sophisticated scams. With Black Friday and Christmas around the corner, banks must act fast." AI-powered fraud prevention is becoming increasingly essential, with those who lag behind at risk of losing customer trust and market share. As scams evolve, so must our defenses. It's time for banks, tech providers, and regulators to collaborate and protect the next generation of consumers. Experts recommend terminating suspicious calls and contacting banks through telephone numbers displayed on official cards or applications. The service offers direct connection to participating banks' fraud departments, providing a secure communication channel. Customers must never divulge one-time authentication codes or permit strangers to access their devices remotely. Suspicious text messages should be forwarded to 7726 for investigation. Ms. Dudnath said, "Pause, check the source, and only respond using verified contact details." Additional resources and support are available through the Take 5 to Stop Fraud website for those seeking comprehensive protection strategies. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.